Hey guys, Ben Sharples here. We're talking about the second serve today. I got a message on Instagram from a gentleman named Ami Reza in Tehran, Iran, who said that he's having some consistency issues with his second serve. Thanks, Ami Reza. You're not alone. It's a very common problem. Two of the most common issues that I see people have with their second serve are inconsistency and also weakness. The second serve tends to be easily attacked by the returner. There are a few different scenarios that I see causing these problems. Number one is if the second serve is identical to the first serve. Your first serve and second serve should be pretty different from each other. For the first serve, the pace is high, the trajectory is downward, the spin is relatively low, it's aggressive, it's designed to give you an easy point. But because it's hard, pretty flat, and low over the net, you're not going to make it every time. For the pros, a very good first serve percentage is about 60 to 70%. So even for them, they're missing their first serve at least 30% of the time. So if your second serve is identical to your first serve and your first serve is hard and flat, you're most likely going to have quite a consistency issue and you're going to have a lot of double faults. Number two is if the second serve is a slower version of the first serve. This is going to clean up the consistency a little bit because it's softer, but probably not enough because the trajectory is still downward, the ball is still low over the net, and there's still not much margin. Because it's slow and flat, this serve is also vulnerable to attack from the returner. And number three is if the second serve is just a floating tap, which is great for consistency because you can make it every time, but it's extremely weak. It gives your opponent plenty of time to set up perfectly, and the ball sits up right into their strike zone. It's highly attackable, and against a good player, it's pretty much just point over. So what can you do on your second serve to both keep it consistent and also protect yourself from attack? And I would encourage you to develop a topspin second serve because one, its arc shape is going to give you plenty of margin, high over the net, well inside the service line, great for consistency. And number two, its high bounce is going to get the ball up and out of your opponent's strike zone, preventing them from attacking. There are three important steps to keep in mind with this serve. Number one, for the toss, if you're right-handed, instead of tossing in front and to the right, which you do on your first serve, toss back and to the left. And if you're left-handed, instead of tossing in front and to the left, toss back and to the right. Your target for your second serve toss should be around the back of your head. So if the toss were to drop, which it shouldn't because we don't want anyone getting hurt, but if it were to drop, it should land right around the back of your head. Number two, for your backswing, as you're pulling your racket back behind your head, make sure your strings are pointing downward rather than at the sky. If your strings are pointed at the sky, when you make contact, your serve is going to be flat, it's going to go straight up, or it's going to sail long. But if your strings are pointed downward, when you make contact, you're going to be able to hit up and over the top of the ball, which is going to create arc and topspin. Number three, for the hitting of the serve itself, just before contact, with a very loose wrist, drop your racket below the path of the ball. For the initial point of contact, hit up on the bottom of the ball, and on the tail end of contact, close your strings over the top of the ball. This up and over swing is going to give your second serve arc and topspin. And make sure that your swing is moving from bottom to top to over the top. And this is going to take some practice. Start by hitting it soft to medium pace and aim for the center of the box. Just make sure that you're getting arc and topspin and plenty of margin, high over the net and well inside the service line. And once you get some consistency with that, add more legs, add more knee bend, add more racket speed, bump up the pace a little bit, and start moving your placement around until you can get it high to your opponent's backhand or into their body. Thank you again to Ami Reza, and thank you to all of you for taking some time out of your day to check this out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.